The book of Genesis is a literary masterpiece, and today we are going to look at how it's designed. How is modern literature designed? How is a modern novel arranged? What is the main way that an author breaks up his work? Well, you're reading through the book or the novel, and you get to the end, and there's white space, and you turn the page, and it says chapter 2. Yeah, that's right, it's chapters. Modern literature is normally organized, divided up by chapters. But imagine with me, what if you got rid of those chapter headings? And you got rid of all that white space and you smushed everything together so you just got one long text. How then would it be organized? Well, nothing has really changed about it. None of the words have changed. So it's organized the same way as before. You just don't happen to have those helper phrases that the publisher has put in. Well, it's organized the same way that most ancient literature and modern literature is organized. There are three main ways that authors divide up their text, and that's by a change in time, a change in place, or a change in focus. So an author will move between sections, between episodes, by changing either where the action is taking place, by changing what time is going on, or changing the focus. About, are we focused on Steve or are we focused on Chris? And ancient literature works the same way. These are the three most common techniques for changing between sections, parts of a work. And when you look at Genesis, it works the same way. But the fascinating thing is that Genesis also has helper phrases, but not like our modern literature where it says chapter. But in Genesis, the phrase that gets used time and time again is, "These are the generations of," and then there'll be a person's name. "These are the generations of Steve," or "These are the generations of Derek." And that essentially means family. Not exactly, but you can think about that way helpfully. So when you look through Genesis, you see that the author has broken up the work, has organized the work into 10 sections, and they all begin with this phrase, "These are the generations of some person," and then we'll get a story or an account of that person or that family. But that's not all that's going on. And to tell you about what other artistry is going on with this organization, we have to talk about how biblical books are normally organized. And biblical books are normally organized artistically. What I mean by that is that it isn't as if the authors just have sort of a collection of stories they want to tell. Like, I got one about Abraham, and I've got a story about Joseph, and let's just smush them together, maybe throw them in chronological order, and that's it. No. The authors in biblical books have taken as much care and precision and attention with telling the story as with organizing it. And by artistic, I mean that the way that they organize it communicates something about the central theme or the message. So the form mirrors the content. Much in Caravaggio's painting that we looked at, the major form, an eye, communicates the message of the story. Let me give you an example of how this works. So the 5 books of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. When you look at Exodus and Numbers, they are extraordinarily organized, designed. and they are organized as mirror images. So both Exodus and Numbers are broken up into 3 sections. The first section in Exodus is Israel in a foreign country in Egypt. The second section, they are moving and they are traveling through the wilderness. And in the third section, they are at Mount Sinai. So it's a journey out of Egypt to Mount Sinai. Numbers is also organized in 3 sections, but a mirror image of that. So they start in the first section at Mount Sinai. Then they travel through the wilderness, and then they arrive in a foreign country, this time in Moab, in the plains of Moab. And these are mirror images. Why is that? Well, this is to focus our attention on the central, focal book of the first 5 books of the Bible, Leviticus. Now, that's not normally what we think, but that's how the author designed it. And he designed it that way because Leviticus is almost entirely God's speech, the character God's speech at Mount Sinai. The action slows in the Pentateuch. So we're moving out of Egypt at this incredible narrative rate, and then we stop, and there's no movement in Leviticus. If there were a red letter version of the Old Testament, Leviticus would be blood red. The author has designed it this way so that Exodus and Numbers bracket and lead up to this central event of divine speech and covenant. It even looks like stepping up and stepping down of a mountain. It's extraordinarily structured. And the book of Genesis is organized with the same craft, the same artistry, where the form communicates the themes and communicates the message. And next week, we are going to look at 3 aspects of the artistry of this organization. And we will see once again how the Bible is art.